Okay, we're going to talk about a subject pronoun. A subject pronoun is used as the subject of a sentence. So when we have a singular subject pronoun, remember that means singular means one, we can be using the pronouns I, you, he, she, or it. These are our singular subject pronouns. So when we are talking about plural subject pronouns, remember plural means more than one, we can use the pronouns we, also you, because we can be talking about you as one person, or we can be talking to you as many people, like talking to you as the class. But then we could also use they. So we, you, and they are our plural subject pronouns. So these are what we would use if we have more than one in the subject. So let's take a look at our examples. We're going to read the sentences and choose the correct pronoun in the parentheses over here to complete each sentence. So taking a look at number 1, my friend Ted and, are we going to be working with me or I, started a lawn service. So remember, if we're talking about the subject, my friend Ted and, we would be using I, not me. Okay, so this would be I. Let me see if I can type that in. Hopefully it's not too big. Put it right here. Okay, so it would be I. Let me circle it over here so we know which one we're talking about. See how my circle comes out. There we go. Okay, so remember, if it's the subject of the sentence, who or what the sentence is about, my friend Ted and I is part of the subject, so we would be using I, not me. Let's take a look at number 2. Blank made a list of all the services we will offer. So remember, this is the subject, who or what the sentence is about. We usually find that at the beginning of the sentence. And remember, if we have a plural subject, we're using we. So us would be incorrect. If it's a subject, then it would be we. So we need to type in we here. Move it up just a little bit. There we go. Type in we. So in this sentence, because it's the subject of the sentence, we're using the pronoun as the subject, who or what the sentence is about, we would have to use we, not us. There we go. That was a pretty good circle. All right, for number 3, I want you to have your interactive notebook out. So if you need to pause, you can to go get your interactive notebook. I want you to rewrite this sentence, rewrite number 3, and remember, we're putting in a subject pronoun, so which one of these, me or I, would we use for our subject? Remember, up here, if we have subject pronouns, these are the ones that we should be using. So think about which one would complete this sentence. Write that in your interactive notebook. You can pause now to rewrite sentence number 3 using the correct pronoun. Go ahead. Okay. So your sentence should begin with, let me get my type tool again. Remember when we use for a subject, always ends up, there we go. We would be using I. So you should have I am good at raking and cleaning up. So our subject, because this is our subject, we would use I, not me. So you should have I am good at raking and cleaning up. So remember, if we're using a subject, okay, if the pronoun is going to be the subject, who or what the sentence is about, if it's a singular, we're going to use I, you, he, she, or it. If it's plural, more than one, we're going to use we, you, and they. So I want you to pause this video, go ahead and do numbers 4 and 5, and we'll just do 4 and 5. Let me make it a little bigger for you. Okay, so you're just going to do numbers 4 and 5. You can pause the video now. Which subject pronoun are we going to put in? Go ahead. Okay, so for the first sentence, he or him would be, this is the subject. So for a subject, we'd be using he. So you should have written he is good at planting and weeding. And if you read it as him is good at planting and weeding, you can see that it doesn't really sound right. So knowing that it's our subject, we have to use he. And it kind of makes more sense when you read it. Looking at number 5, we asked the Smiths, would them like our help or would you like our help? If we're asking the Smiths, when you're asking somebody something, you would be using you. And if we read it, well, let me make it a little bit higher. If you read it, would them like our help doesn't sound right. Would you like our help sounds correct. And if we're asking somebody something, you would be asking them by saying you. Okay? So we're going to move on from our subject pronouns to our object pronouns. Okay, so our object pronouns, an object pronoun can take the place of an object in a noun. An object noun. So instead of being our subject, we're using this as an object noun within the sentence. So instead of replacing Mark, we're going to be replacing Kim. Mark is our subject. Kim is part of our predicate. So Mark invited Kim. We wouldn't replace Kim with she. We would replace Kim with her. Mark invited her. Mark invited she doesn't sound right. So remember, when we're replacing something in the predicate, if it's a singular object pronoun, we're going to replace with me, you, him, her, or it. Notice that you and it are the same in subject pronouns as they are in object pronouns. But me was I in our subject pronouns. It's me in our object pronouns. Him and her were he and she when we had subject pronouns. But in object pronouns, it's him and her. So those change in our singular object pronouns. The plural object pronouns are us instead of we, you stays the same, and them instead of they. So the us and the them change from we and they. So let's take a look. Let's practice this. So these are not the subject. This is part of the predicate. Okay, so instead of replacing our subject with pronouns, we're replacing part of the predicate, which is called an object noun. So we're replacing with an object noun with a pronoun. So let's take a look at number 1. Dad helped, it's either going to be we or us, build a tree house. Now remember, we're not replacing the subject, Dad, who the sentence is about. We're replacing a noun that is in the predicate. So we're going to be using an object pronoun. So remember, our object pronouns are us, you, and them when it's plural. So we wouldn't be using we. This would be replaced with us. Let's see if I can type that in up here. Oh, make it a little bit higher. Okay. So if we read this sentence, Dad helped us build a tree house. We're replacing we're making the pronoun in the object noun, us. Okay? So this time we're replacing in the predicate, not our subject. In our next sentence, we have, I hope either you or we can come see it. Now remember, we replaces the subject. I right here is our subject. We're not replacing the subject. We're replacing an object noun. That's part of the predicate. So I hope it should be you. It can't be we. I hope we can come see it is not correct because we replaces a subject and we're replacing part of the predicate. So we would be using you. So let me type in you right here. So I hope you can come see it. When we go to number 3, I'm going to have you use your interactive notebook. For number 3, I asked blank to help me clean up. Is it going to be she or her? Remember, we're not replacing the subject. The subject is I. The predicate is asked blank to help me clean up. So what would we use for our object pronoun in the predicate? Remember to come up here. What words are our object pronouns? Me, you, him, her, and it. Rewrite sentence number 3 with the correct object pronoun. You can pause to rewrite number 3. Okay, so you should have her. She replaces a subject. We're not replacing the subject, so we need to use an object pronoun, which would be her. I asked her to help me clean up. Go ahead and do numbers 4 and 5. Remember, we're replacing an object, okay, in the predicate part. We're not replacing a subject, so make sure you're using object pronouns, me, you, him, her, or it for a singular object pronoun, or us, you, and them for a plural object pronoun. Go ahead and pause and rewrite numbers 4 and 5. For number 4, we can help. We should have used the object pronoun him. Oops, did not type it in. There we go. Him. We can help him put away the tools. For number 5, Mom saw, and we're going to replace with an object pronoun because this is not the part of the subject. This is part of the predicate. We're going to use them. Them is an object pronoun, not they. So Mom saw them reading a book. Mom saw they reading a book doesn't sound right because it's not a subject, it's part of the predicate, so we have to use them. So you need to remember singular object pronouns. When we're putting a pronoun into the predicate part of the sentence, we use me, you, him, her, and it. If it's a plural object pronoun, we're going to use us, you, or them. So these are the pronouns that we use in the predicate part of our sentence.